Good evening and welcome to the Ogden City Council meeting for March 15th or 25th, 2014. And let the roll call reflect that all council members are present. We appreciate your presence as well. And we will start our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led by Vice Chair Gottlieb.
Please rise and join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
And if you'd now please join us in a moment of silence. Thank you. Our agenda tonight, the first item on our agenda is recognitions. The first is Autism Awareness Month. And we've, Councilmember Gardner, right? That's
correct.
Autism and epilepsy kind of get, okay, if you'll take care of that one.
I'll take the first one, yes.
Thank you.
It's my pleasure to read this tonight in my honor. A joint proclamation of the Ogden City Council and the Mayor of Ogden declaring April 2014 Weber State University Autism Awareness Month in Ogden City. Whereas autism spectrum disorders, or ASDs, are a group of developmental disabilities that can cause significant social, communication, and behavioral challenges. People facing these disorders handle information in their brain differently than others. These disorders begin before the age of 3 and last throughout a person's life. Although symptoms may improve over time, and whereas ASDs are considered the fastest growing serious developmental disability in the United States, affecting 1 in 88 children, with the state of Utah having the highest rates of onset of any other location in the country. And whereas autism costs the nation $126 billion per year, but receives less than 5% of the research funding of many less prevalent diseases, making it difficult to better understand and provide improved treatments for these disorders. And whereas autism affects not only the diagnosed individual, but the entire family and the community at large, there is currently no identified cause or cure for autism. However, it is known that with proper education, training, and community support, individuals with autism can lead distinguished, productive lives and strive to reach their fullest potential. And whereas Ogden would like to commend the Weber State University, Talitha E. Lindquist College of Arts and Humanities for promoting autism awareness through their upcoming workshop production of Mockingbird. This is directed by the theater professor, Tracy Callahan, and depicts the story of Caitlin, a young girl with Asperger's syndrome and ASD. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Ogden City Council and Mayor Michael P. Caldwell hereby proclaim April 2014 Weber State University Autism Awareness Month in Ogden City. We encourage all residents, teachers, parents, and those remarkable people who have autism to participate in the activities and events associated with Weber State University and their production of Mockingbird throughout March and April. We express our sincere appreciation for the faculty, staff, and students associated with this production and encourage them to continue their work on this important issue to raise awareness for this topic beyond the stage. Be it further resolved that we recognize Tracy Callahan, Madon Miner, the Weber State University Talitha E. Lindquist College of Arts and Humanities, and local residents for their efforts in providing information and support for those who have had their lives affected by autism spectrum disorder. So I would like to propose that we adopt joint proclamation, or this joint proclamation declaring Weber State University Autism Awareness Month in Ogden City.
I second it.
Okay, we've got a motion by Councilmember Garner, seconded by Councilmember Stevens for approval of this joint proclamation. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay,
that passes. So
thank you. And we'd like to hear from Tracy and Madon for a moment, and then we'll present this proclamation to you.
I'm Madon Miner, Dean of the Talitha E. Lindquist College of Arts and Humanities at Weber State, and I'm very grateful to you, City Council members, for making this acknowledgement of Autism Month. It's a very special disease, and we're proud that Weber will be working with the community to provide information in a very artistic form. Thank you.
Hello, and I'm Tracy Callahan. I'm a professor of theater at Weber State University. I am also the mother of a 22-year-old son with autism who is a junior at Weber State, majoring in zoology, so we have come a long way. He was brought up here in Ogden and in the Ogden Public Schools. We traveled a lot of miles to Salt Lake City to get a lot of treatment. This is something that is very dear to me. I'm working on this play. It's a brand new play. It's never been done before. I'm working with a local playwright, Julie Jensen from Salt Lake City, and we will eventually be performing this at the Kennedy Center in next January. So it will have a life after this, but I would like to thank the College of Arts and Humanities for supporting us and for all of you for declaring this Mockingbird Month. Thank you. Autism Month. Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy.
Tracy and Madon, if you'll come up at this time, we'd like to present these plaques to you, and then we'd like to get a picture with you. These boxes do have to be taken.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of move over this way a little bit, and we'll bunch together behind you.
Sounds good.
We'll pull the mayor down here with us, too.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Take our boxes.
Oh, just so you don't sit down on the floor.
The next item is epilepsy.
Hold on just 1 minute.
Oh,
And as was
sorry.
mentioned, we really would like to encourage the citizens to participate and go and watch this great event. It was, a wonderful article on it in the Go section of the Standard Examiner. And look forward to being there with you. Thank you.
Now, the next item on our agenda is Epilepsy Awareness Month, and we've asked Councilmember White if she would present that.
I'd love to. This is a joint proclamation of the Ogden City Council and Mayor declaring March 26, 2014 as Purple Day in Ogden City. Whereas epilepsy is an incurable brain disorder that causes people to have reoccurring seizures. 1 in 26 people will develop epilepsy, and 1 in 10 will have at least one seizure during his or her lifetime. There are 150,000 new cases of epilepsy diagnosed in the United States each year. And whereas epilepsy affects a large variety of people, including children and adults, men and women, and people of races, religions, ethnic backgrounds, and social classes. Known as the third most common neurological condition, some common causes of epilepsy are abnormal brain development, illness, and brain injury. But nearly half of the time, the disease manifests itself due to unknown causes. And whereas widespread lack of understanding and knowledge about epilepsy often cause people to fear, isolate, tease, and even bully their peers who are afflicted with epilepsy or other seizure disorders. Education programs help to increase understanding and better equip the public to aid individuals and families who are affected by epilepsy. And whereas it is vital that people now know how to respond to a seizure and how to properly treat a person with epilepsy. Most seizures are not medical emergencies and usually end after a minute or two without harm. Learning simple first aid and being able to recognize when someone is experiencing a seizure can make all of the difference in helping someone who has epilepsy. And whereas epilepsy is estimated to affect over 50 million people worldwide, 2.2 million people in the United States, and an estimated 27,000 people in the state of Utah. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Ogden City Council and Mayor Michael P. Caldwell hereby proclaim March 26, 2014, Purple Day. in Ogden City. Purple Day is a global initiative dedicated to promoting epilepsy awareness in cities, states, and countries around the world. This is intended to increase understanding, reduce stigma, and improve the quality of life for the people dealing with epilepsy throughout our community. We express our appreciation for the significant efforts of Epilepsy Alliance of Utah to provide awareness, education, advocacy, and assistance for those dealing with epilepsy. Nearly 5,000 individuals statewide have received training to help combat the effects of epilepsy in Utah. With this, I make a motion declaring March 26, 2014 as Purple Day in Ogden City.
I'll second it.
Got a motion by Councilmember White and seconded by Councilmember Wicks for approval of this joint proclamation. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Thank you.
Is Margot here?
Hi, I'm Margot Thurman, the board president of the Epilepsy Alliance of Utah. I'm also a person with epilepsy. There are all types of people, all ranges, dealing with epilepsy. Thank you very much for that proclamation, stating everything. I guess I just want to say to you again, 1 out of every 26 people will at some point in their lives get epilepsy. I'm handing out quite a bit more information about facts. One thing we're very proud of that we've done, out of the now over 5,000 that we've trained, half of those have been policemen and firemen, because many times a seizure, because there's about 20 different types of seizures, we all think of, when we hear the word epilepsy and seizure, the convulsive seizure, which is very scary. And I'll just say quickly, if you see one of those, quickly turn the person on their side, get something under their head, and immediately look at your watch. Because if a seizure goes on for 5 minutes or more, that is an automatic 911. But there's numerous other kinds of seizures that many people, as they are seeing them, and many of the policemen, and they've said this, they will look at them and they'll think they're high on drugs or they're drunk. And many times a taser is used on them, unfortunately, because when the person is seizing and they're talking to them, they're not aware of what's going on and they cannot talk back to you. So with no response, then they think, I better get their attention. So there's many, many things. We thank you very much, and our main goal is to educate the people, because it is important when a person has epilepsy that they are treated just like any other person. And many times they're not, because employees use a seizure on the job, and they kind of know, even according to ADA, they have to follow the guidelines, but they'll use another reason, it's kind of a catch-22, to let them go. So we also deal with a lot of issues like that. But thank you very much for what you do.
Thank you. And
Could come up, and we'd like to present you with the plaque and also have a picture taken with you. Thank you.
no kidding.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
As the sister of somebody who's had epilepsy for 33 years, thank you for all you do, too.
Next item on our agenda is the approval of minutes. We have the regular meeting of December 17th. Councilmember Wicks.
Thank you, Chair Heyer. I reviewed those minutes and found them to be accurate.
Okay, and the closed executive session of January 14th, 2014. Councilmember Blair.
Yes, thank you, Chair Heyer. I reviewed those minutes and found them to be accurate.
The regular meeting of January 21st, 2014. Councilmember Garner.
Yes, Chair Heyer, I've reviewed those minutes and found them to be accurate.
And the work session of February 4th, 2014. Councilmember Stevens.
Mr. Chair, those minutes are correct.
And the work session of February 11th, 2014. Councilmember White.
Yes, Chair Heyer, I found those to be correct.
You want to make a motion
I'll make a motion to
approve the minutes?
approve the minutes.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, Councilmember White, and seconded by Councilmember Blair for approval of the minutes. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Thank you. Next item is our common consent part of the agenda. This is for fiscal year 2014 budget amendment for the capital improvement projects. And we've got...
I'll go ahead, if there's no discussion, I'll go ahead and make a motion that we adopt proposed ordinance 2014-11 to set the public hearing for April 8th, 2014.
And I'll second.
Okay, we've got a motion to set the public hearing for April 8th from Vice Chair Gochner, and seconded by Councilmember Garner. And this is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Are there any opposed? That passes. Next are public hearings. The first is the Arts Grant, proposed resolution 2014-5. We'll just for your information today, we're going to hear these first two just as they are. When we get to item number C on this, we'll hear the presentations and then have the public hearings on all of them, and then have the action. So we'll go to the Arts Grants first of all.
Mr. Chair, that'll be our chair, and also, if necessary, Christy McBride, who is the staff.
Welcome.
Hi. I'm Kate Bruce, the chair. Ginny Stout is ill and so wanted to be here, so I'm kind of just filling in for her tonight. She was very disappointed, and this was a little bit last minute, but we're excited to be here. I think you all have the grants in front of you, and I'm not sure what you want me to repeat to you, and I also have the information from our work session that happened on the addendum that happened on February 11th or the 18th maybe. So I'm not sure quite what you need to hear from me.
I think probably we'll ask if there are any questions from council members.
Okay, perfect.
Mr. Chair, typically you have a presentation so that the public is aware, for the record, what's being proposed.
Okay.
Okay. These are the Ogden City Art Grant recommendations for the year of 2014. This is the revised copy. So we have general support. We were, well, let me say first, there was 98,666 requests, and we're funding 50,000. So thank you for that. General support, Eccles Community Arts Center, Egyptian Theater Foundation, Ogden Symphony Ballet Association, Imagine Ballet Theater, Nurture the Creative Mind, Ogden Friends of Acoustic Music, Treehouse Children's Museum, and project support, we have Chamber Orchestra Ogden, National String Project Consortium, Ogden Nature Center, Earth Day Poster Contest, Ogden Opera Guild, St. Anne's Center, Ogden Arts Festival at Union Station, and under developmental support, we have Art Visuals White Space and Good Company Theater. Any other questions? Or?
Okay, along with that, would you just, St. Anne's, but will you touch on what that is covering?
Which, I'm sorry, which?
St. Anne's.
The St. Anne's.
Because I think it's great for the public to hear what.
Absolutely. What they proposed and we are funding is actually art supplies to give the children of the people that use the St. Anne's Center. There will be volunteers that will go in and do hands-on projects, art projects, that those kids may not receive or children may not receive in school. school. And also, by doing some of those art types of things, just exposing them to things that they may not otherwise have in their life.
So as an artist in the community who will be donating their
I believe
time
so,
to
yes.
that?
And that's something we'll touch on too. We do, in April, we will have our Arts on the Town where our grantees will come together and we network, and that might be a time too that we'll tap into them to be able to say who can help out with this. That's what we're trying to do, is get our grantees communicating and utilizing their service as well for everyone in the community.
I think the arts add a special touch to our community, and it gives us a standard that improves our lives, and so they're very vital to our community here in Ogden to develop.
We have a wonderful council. We just feel honored to serve and thank the council so much for their support.
I think since this was my first time going through this, I am amazed at how many people's lives the arts touches here. And I blew my mind, so thank you.
Thank you.
And I just wanted to add to that, I know that you and your committee put a lot of time into this, and are any of your committee members here?
We do have some committee members here, and we have several of our grantees, and I think some would love to thank you if there's time for that. Would any of my council members that are here, would they stand? Thank you. It's a great committee.
It is. Thank you so much.
Any other questions or?
Further questions?
Thank you, Kay.
Thank you.
Well, this is a public hearing, and so if there's anyone that'd like to speak to the arts grants,
Thank you. That doesn't go up too well. Thank you, Chairman Heyer and Mayor Caldwell and City Council. I'm Pat Posey from the Eccles Community Arts Center, and through your grants and helping us, it helps us to continue the arts in Ogden. We, when used to be known as the Bertha Eccles Arts Center, and now the Eccles Community Arts Center, were the front runners in the arts, I think, in Ogden. And so we were able to start artists in Ogden and bring their values, train them. They took classes there and had a place for them to sell their goods. So I know on behalf of myself, our volunteer board, our volunteers, and our staff, we greatly appreciate everything that you do for the arts and continue to do, because we know that it's usually on the bottom of the list. And so we appreciate everything you do for us. Thank you, and we would like you to come by and see the Arts Center and see what we do there. Thank you.
I forgot to ask if you would make sure that you give your name and address.
My name is Roberta Beverly. I'm with the Union Station Foundation, and I just have a couple of things to say. This is the 11th annual Ogden Arts Festival at Union Station, and I believe in each one of those years we have applied to the city for help, and I believe in each one of those years we have received it, and for that we are very, very grateful. I would like to tell you on our Arts Festival, which is June 13th and 14th this year, a Friday, half of a Friday, and all day of a Saturday. We expect to have at least 8,000 people come down to Union Station and mill around and enjoy all forms of arts, the theater, the graphic arts, the glass. We have up over 50 artists that will be involved. We have partnered with Nurture the Creative Mind and their children to help us with all of this. And with that, I would like to tell you about the extraordinary volunteers that we have, many of whom serve double duty and are in this chamber right now, and just ask them, please, the committee members and anybody involved in the Ogden Arts Festival, to please stand up. Not nearly even half of them. So with that, I would just like again to thank you for your support, and we love doing what we do, and we appreciate you helping us do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Judy Vanderhyde, and I've been coming here for years now. I am president of the Ogden Opera Guild, and we are an all-volunteer guild. And every year, thanks to you, we send 120 students and 14 chaperones to the dress rehearsal of an opera in Salt Lake City. And if you're not aware, the opera and the symphony, Utah Symphony, Utah Opera, are now one organization, and they have been for roughly 10 years or more. By supporting these kids to go to this dress rehearsal, they will be with other students from the Valley. They get all dressed up, and they come back having had a wonderful experience, because opera is really the total package. It is theater, it is voice, and it is a spectacle. We are so lucky to have it. New York City Opera closed a year ago or so. Cleveland Opera closed. I think St. Paul Opera closed, and they just announced that San Diego Opera closed. And it's so tragic. In Europe, opera and symphony are supported by the countries they're in. But in this country, it's all due to volunteers, and ticket sales don't cover it. So these kids love it. They don't know they're going to love it, but they do, and we get a whole series of cute little letters from thanking us for letting them go to the opera. So I certainly thank you. It's been great of you to do this for us.
Hi, my name is Michael Palumbo. I'm the conductor of Chamber Orchestra Ogden. Chamber Orchestra Ogden is a relatively new organization. This is our second year, and we are just finishing it up with our final concert on the 26th of April. Had to get that plug in there. We appreciate very much the orchestra members, my board of directors, and I, your support for the orchestra. Without financial support, obviously, no arts organization can exist, because we don't make enough money from ticket sales to make this happen. We perform at Union Station in the Browning Theater. It's a great venue, and we are always grateful to Roberta and to the Union Station Foundation for putting up with us and having us in there. So if you have nothing else to do on the 26th, come down and listen to us. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I am Michaela Woods, and we are from Imagine Ballet Theater, and we would like to thank you for your support and giving us the opportunity to perform for local schools and being able to share our talent with others. I had the most amazing experience being able to perform for Wasatch, Polk, D, and Canyon Elementary. Not only did the students learn something, but I did also. I learned how to set up and take down the sound system, ballet bars, and Marley ballet floor. I knew before how much work goes into doing a show, but now I know firsthand all it takes to put on a ballet production. I also was able to improve my ballet technique from going and performing for these students. Dancing at different locations can be hard, but I learned that you just have to get used to it and make it work as best you can. I loved being able to look at the students' faces while I was dancing and see the excitement and curiosity show on their faces. All children should have the opportunity to participate in the arts, whether it may be with dance, music, theater, or painting. The arts help the imagination grow, and I'm so glad I was able to help these students explore and imagine. Arigato gozaimashita.
Thank you so much, ladies.
I should have jumped right up in the beginning so I didn't have to follow these young ladies. I'm Sharon McFarland from the Ogden Symphony Ballet Association. For more than 60 years, we've been bringing Utah Symphony and Ballet West performances up here to Ogden. This past year that we're now in, we're just about at the end of our season. We have had 16 performances, ranging from family shows to classical to pops, and of course the Nutcracker. Next year, we've stuck our necks out a little bit. We're having, I think, 18 shows, and this past year we've sold 16,000 tickets. So you know a lot of people have enjoyed coming there. We have our performances up at Weber State, and they are great. I think it's great for Ogden and its development, economic development people. If somebody's coming into the community, they love knowing that right here in Ogden they can see these world-class organizations. We also do an outreach, and that's what part of your money that you give us takes care of the outreach to the community and also to the education. So thank you so much for your continued support of Ogden Symphony Ballet.
Thank you.
Hello, Mayor and City Council members. My name is Amir Jackson, and I am the founder and director of a local nonprofit called Nurture the Creative Mind. With the help of Ogden City, the Nurture the Creative Mind Foundation in the past year alone has directly impacted more than 3,500 young people through assemblies, workshops, events, partnerships, and our after-school program. We were nominated for the Governor's Award for Community Service. City Weekly voted our organization Best Molding of Art Minds. And most recently, we received the American Red Cross Heroes Recognition Award for Education. This and much more in the 1 year alone. Anytime Nurture the Creative Mind is mentioned, honored or recognized, so is the city that we have chosen to be our home. When Ogden City made a commitment to the art and biking culture, Nurture the Creative Mind answered that call over and over again, thinking of ways we could assist the city with these missions. Thus, the Street Piano Project, and most recently by developing an innovative bike rack that is both aesthetically pleasing and multifunctional, acting as a bench and a bike rack. The bench rack, as we called it, is designed by Nurture the Creative Mind instructor and 3 students in one of our art classes. After the owner of a Good Life Cafe on 25th Street mentioned the street needed more bike racks and asked if we thought we could design something. We have acquired the provisional patent and have plans of applying for the actual patent in the next few months. Naming each of the young people involved as the designers in the project. This means these particular students, before getting through junior high, will have their name on a patent license. We are also coordinating community bike rides, partnering with Weber Pathways and the Bike Collective that will raise funds for bikes to be purchased for community youth. These community bike rides will also promote commuting and help support local businesses. As each week, we will choose a local coffee shop or restaurant as our final destination. I tell you this so that you may see the monies granted to our organization and the other organizations represented here today by Ogden City are not handouts, but an investment in our community's cultural elevation. We are not merely grantees, we are partners with the city in the city's economic and cultural growth. We are grateful and honored to Ogden City for its support of Nurture the Creative Mind, Ogden City Arts, as well as the other many organizations, some here today, that assist with providing our city with a rich culture. And we ask that you continue to do so. For the arts are one of the many reasons we are proud that Ogden is our home. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good evening, City Council members, Mayor Caldwell, and arts enthusiasts. My name is Alicia Washington, and I am the owner and operator of Good Company Theater. Good Company Theater, our mission statement is to develop and promote high-quality, eclectic theatrical productions and events, forging new relationships between audiences, performers, and spaces in the process. Good Company Theater is located in the heart of Ogden, 25th Street. All right, let me get a little dramatic here. The heart of Ogden, let's see, is where everything takes place. And let's say the brain of Ogden is the City Council. So now it's time for our annual physical. Good Company Theater is honored to be a part of the heart that makes up Ogden City. Now let's review the charts. Good Company Theater in the last year has produced 9 different shows, producing 2 original works and staging Utah premieres, seeing more than 2,000 patrons come through our humble doors, and donated more than $3,000 to Your Community Connection with the production of the Vagina Monologues, and then Outreach Ogden with the production of the Nick Monologues, Memoirs of a Gay Son. Also in this last year, Good Company Theater has acquired our 501c3 nonprofit status with Fractured Atlas, and that is all thanks to the funding from Ogden City Arts Council and Ogden City Council of the developmental grant. Now, let's get our charts up to date. Good Company Theater has already produced 2 shows this season, one of which will be closing this weekend. You can buy your tickets online. It's called Freud's Last Session at goodcotheater.com. And we just finished auditioning for our next show that opens in May. Good Company Theater has also had the opportunity to pair up with Plan B Theater Company, that's a Salt Lake-based theater company, to bring a children's show up to Ogden. We are the only Ogden theater company that was able to produce that. And with being able to produce that through the generous funding of Ogden City, we were able to make that a free event to families and children. And the show is called Different is Amazing, and it talks about how to be an ally in school and to fight back against, wrong words, to stand up against bullying and how to be an ally. Within this last year, Good Company Theater has also made long-standing friendships and working relationships with other arts agencies throughout Ogden City. We've created cross-promotional events, advertising, and just general support and a dialogue how to keep the arts going in Ogden. Overall, Good Company Theater's portion of the heart is thriving. It's thriving due to the City Council's initial support of granting funds to Good Company Theater. The connectivity of the 2 vital organs of the human body, the heart and the mind, are strong. The connectivity of the arts in Ogden City is essential, but it is continually given life through the funding of grants from the City Council. The arts in Ogden City, the overall assessment of the physical is that it remains healthy and thriving, and the final prognosis is longevity due to continual support of the arts from the City Council. Thank you.
Thank you.
City Council members and Mayor Caldwell, my name is Wes Whitby. I am the Museum Programs Coordinator down at Treehouse Museum. And I guess we want to be the fingers if we're choosing body parts. We have over 150,000 visitors that come to Treehouse, and thought that it might be good to know some of the general support that helps to give some of the kids and families that come down there I guess the general money that is used that we get with our grant goes to helping provide the art supplies that are used by that large number of children and families. And my job at the museum is the theater portion of things. And we also use some of that money to bring children in and to do daily theater in our performance space. The money helps to provide costumes, and for that we want to thank you. Without the support of this money, we couldn't obviously do what we do, and we want to again thank you for your support.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Scott Patria. I'm founder and manager of White Space Contemporary here at 2420 Wall Avenue. And I want to thank City Council and Ogden City Arts for their very strong support of the arts. In 20 years as a gallerist, I've never seen a city this size work as hard as it does in support of the arts, and I really appreciate that because we all know it contributes to a really strong and vibrant community. I particularly look forward to to expanding our programming, and which features both local artists and internationally known artists, contemporary artists, and further contributing to that vibrancy of the arts community here in Ogden City. Everybody else is doing plugs, so our next show opening in April for Art Stroll is called Korean Vision. It'll all be Korean or Korean-born artists, contemporary artists. And then opening in July to tie in with Pioneer Days, etc., is New Visions of the Old West. So I certainly hope to see you all at White Space. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Brandy Bosworth. I'm the Public Relations Coordinator at the Ogden Nature Center. I'm so impressed. Before I get into the Ogden Nature Center stuff, this is all the good stuff. And I'm so happy that our city invests in the arts. It's it brings such richness to where we live. At the Ogden Nature Center, we conduct an Earth Day art poster contest every year. And while that seems really small, to so many kids it's a big deal. We send out a call for entry to all of the public schools in both Weber School District and Ogden City School District, and all of the private schools, the charter schools. And we send that call out in both English and Spanish. The result is fabulous. We receive hundreds, sometimes over 1,000 art posters every year that have to do with Earth Day and just what Earth Day means to the youth in our community. And what's really cool about the art poster contest is it combines creativity with the natural world and what the environment means to kids in our city. When the staff receives the posters, they are creative, of course, but they're also humorous, they're insightful and beautiful, and we just love getting them, and we love to see the kids rewarded for their good work and really their thoughts on paper. So thank you for supporting our program at the Nature Center and all of the arts in Ogden City.
Thank you.
Good evening, council members and Mayor Caldwell. I'm Michelle Tanner with Ogden Friends of Acoustic Music, and
I'm Reba Nissen, also with Ogden Friends of Acoustic Music.
We just want to thank you so much for your continued support of our Ogden Music Festival that has been held now for 6 years. We're going on our 7th year at Fort Buenaventura, 3-day music festival with camping on site, and it's very family friendly. We're very proud that we bring high quality music with a fairly strong bluegrass flavor, but it's diverse and we mix it up really well. Including our Friday night headliner we have scheduled this year, Alejandro Escovedo, who covers the gamut of from punk to country. So we every year provide a free to the public concert too. Your general funding support enables us to do that. The funds go directly to our musician budget, which is spent between 60 to 65% of our entire budget goes directly to our professional musicians. We do the free to the public concert at the downtown Ogden Amphitheater, and we've developed many community partners over the years. Because Ogden is such a strong arts town, I'm so proud to live in Ogden and to be part of this great support system that is here. I was fortunate to get the Mayor's Award in Music last October, and I'm still riding high on that. We provide hands-on opportunities for youth to pick up an instrument, a traditional instrument, and learn how to play. Even if it's just for a little bit, we have a musical petting zoo on site, we have workshops, we showcase local young musicians on our workshop stage and tweener stage and main stage. We partner with the Bike Collective to have people able to ride their bikes out there. At all our events, youth 16 and under are admitted for free. And we do that because we want the kids there to learn about music and to be exposed to music, because we know studies have shown that kids who are involved in music lessons do better in all walks of their life and make better career employees. And I just want to say again, thank you so very much from every one of you for the ongoing support, and I hope to see you out there. Our dates are May 30th, 31st, and June 1st.
And our public outreach at the Downtown Ogden Amphitheater is on June 2nd, and we hope everybody comes to that. We're going to have the Ducks there and Marley's Ghost, and we also show a film afterwards, so it's kind of a nice Monday night movie night and music. Also, what I love about hearing from everybody tonight is that there's something for everyone, but there's also some things for everyone. And that's what's so great about this, the diversity of the offerings, and it just feeds itself and creates this rich, vibrant community. And so thank you so much for that energy that you're giving us.
And I just want to shout out too that we have a lot of folks from Salt Lake that come up to our festival. Around 40% of our attendees come from Salt Lake, and this is a regular thing. So we're bringing people up here to Ogden, and we're really proud of that. I also feel like I help the music scene in Ogden by shouting out on my radio show that I have a volunteer radio show once a week at KRCL, and people know Ogden is a happening place, and it is strong in the arts, and our reputation is good.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Mayor Caldwell, council members, my name is Nick Van Arsdale. I'm the proprietor of Lucky Slice Pizza here on 25th Street. I am also a volunteer member of the Ogden Arts Festival, and I do work with H25. I'm on the board there. I come to you not as a recipient, although we are, but as a member of the business community to thank you for your generous sponsoring of the arts. My business has collaborated with over 70% of the recipients of your grants here today. Have been good for business. They've been good for the community. They've really helped make Ogden a destination not just for people from out of town, but for our locals here as well, which is really, really necessary for our businesses. So I did just want to say thank you very much. We appreciate what you do. And there's ROI on this outside of just giving away grants. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate all of you that have spoken tonight. It represents an awful lot of love in the heart hours and many volunteer hours, and that brings much richness to our community. We appreciate the effort that you put forward for that.
Chair Hare, if I can jump in as well. I know personally how passion-driven all of this is. Almost everybody that spoke are volunteers. They give of their time, efforts, and energy. They get very little return on investment other than this being a personal reflection of what matters to you. This is a big year for the arts, and I'll remind everybody that RAMP is back up for re-election this year. If you like what's happening here, that's done some amazingly unique things in our community, and would encourage you to get behind that and tell your neighbors and friends and people that have been touched by these unique grants and RAMP in terms of the entire county, just how unique that is. So a little editorialism on my end. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mayor. Appreciate that. Okay.
So with that, I will disclose too, I serve on the board of the Ogden Nature Center and Chamber Orchestra Ogden, just so we know. But the suggestions for funding came from the Arts Committee anyway. But with that, and thanking everybody for contributing, really it is quality of life. What you do contributes to our quality of life. It draws people to our community. It makes it a great place to live. And it creates the problem sometimes of having too many things go. You have a hard time deciding what to pick sometimes. And I think that's a fantastic problem to have. It's not a problem, it's a good thing. So with that, I would make a motion that we adopt proposed resolution 2014-5. Oh, do we need to close the public?
Prior to you doing that, why don't I quickly just make a motion that we close the public hearing on the arts grants?
I'll second that.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second to close the public hearing. As a voice vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
And with that, I will second your motion. It was very eloquent.
Okay. And we have a motion by Councilmember Wicks, seconded by Vice Chair Gochner, for approval of the proposed resolution 2014-5. And this is a roll call vote.
Councilmember Blair?
Aye.
Councilmember Gardner?
Aye.
Councilmember Stevens?
Aye.
Councilmember White?
Aye.
Councilmember Wicks?
Aye.
Vice Chair Gochner?
Aye.
Chair Hire?
Aye. And that passes unanimously. And we wish you all the best for make the best out of this. You guys are doing a great job, and we really appreciate it as a community for all the fine work that you do. Carry forward.
Thank you.
And thank you for coming and spending your evening with us.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item on our agenda is fiscal year 2015 to 2019 capital improvement plan, and that will be presented by Eller Smith.
I was certain they were here to talk about capital improvements.
Council members, it's a pleasure to be here tonight. This is a culmination of several months' work, both on the part of the administration and the council. As you know, the capital improvement plan is something that's generated by the administration, working through their department directors and staff, and reviewed by the Planning Commission, and ultimately comes to the council for consideration. And because it is such an important part of the council's role in budgeting, we spend quite a bit of time to make sure that those projects that are in there are things that the council feels are important, should be budgeted, because this capital improvement plan is what informs the budget decisions that the administration and ultimately the council makes. So I just want to review briefly what we've done here. Let's see. There we go. Just for the public's sake, just to remind you what a capital improvement is as defined under the city's ordinance. There are three main types of projects that a capital improvement will cover. It's either repair and maintenance of existing facilities, it's additions or renovations to existing facilities, and new construction over $30,000. In reviewing the projects that are proposed, the council has several objectives in mind. We want to make sure that we're determining long-term financing needs and establishing a plan that's real and workable with the limitations of the budget. We want to ensure that this plan aligns with the council's goals and all master plans that are developed by the utilities and other departments in the city, and to provide direction for the, I should say, FY 2015 budget. We have had 4 work sessions beginning in January, and we've set the public hearing, which will be held tonight on March 4th. There are only a couple of changes that came out of the review by the council. First were a couple of administrative amendments. The first one was to shift the project FY016, which is replacement of Station 3, from FY16 funding to FY 2015. The administration worked hard to try and find funding for that project and was able to do that. And the good news is that they were able to do that without requesting any bonding authority from the council. The other change is to remove ENO 94, which is the 20th Street improvements, from the 2015 plan. And that basically is just because they're going to actually do it in the current year. And the council actually just took action tonight to set the public hearing for that action. The council change was just to clarify on project CO 014, which is the Mount Ogden Community, that should say plan, I apologize, is to be used for the 32nd Street sidewalk project. If you recall, the project brief actually named several projects that the funding could be used for, and council wanted to make sure that that funding was used for that project. After going through the ranking, these are the top 3 projects that are identified in the general fund for priorities. It's the Grant Promenade, 100 Doxey Street, and then the Second Harrison intersection. And that actually is also just funding for the larger, it's a match for the larger project of Harrison widening. I just wanted to point out that there were several projects that were identified during our one-on-one budget discussions with the council, and we've discussed some of these in our legislative projects update. But because we haven't been able to complete that process, I just wanted to make you aware that there are these projects that are potentially CIP projects that are not included in this 2015-2019 CIP, and that's a splash pad at J.C. Park, sidewalk at 32nd Street from Quincy to Jackson, Union Station renovations, and the junction entryway sign, which is also potentially a CIP. But we will keep track of those, and there's always the opportunity to amend the CIP plan at any time during the year to include those if funding becomes available or if priorities shift. So that's my presentation. I'm willing to answer any questions if you have any.
Any questions for Ms. Eller-Smith? Thank you. Okay, this is a public hearing for this item. If you have any comments, please come forward. Give us your name and address for the record.
Seeing no movement, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to close the public hearing. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. We'll look for any comments or a motion.
And I'll make a motion that we adopt proposed ordinance 2014-9.
I second it.
Okay, we've got a motion by Councilmember Garner, seconded by Councilmember Stevens for approval of or adoption of this ordinance 2014-9. This is a roll call vote.
Councilmember Garner?
Aye.
Councilmember Stevens?
Aye.
Councilmember White?
Aye.
Councilmember Wicks?
Aye.
Councilmember Blair?
Aye.
Vice Chair Gochner?
Aye.
Chair Heyer?
Aye, that passes unanimously also. Looking forward to some good projects. The next item is the one I spoke about earlier, the annual action plan amendments for fiscal year 2014. We'll have presentations on all 4 of these items, and then we'll have the public hearing. So we'll start with the 5-year consolidation, 2010 to 2015, for the annual action plan amendment 2014.
Chair, that'll be by Ward and Brandon, but we're going to include item D in one's fail swoop explanation, if that's okay.
Yeah, that would be actually appropriate, so that we can take care of it now instead of later.
Mr. Chair, members of the council, each year, each 5 years, we undergo a process called the consolidated plan, and that is the consolidated application for the federal funding that we receive for community and economic development. And we're in the final year of that. Actually, next year will be our final year of that 5-year plan. And so typically we don't amend that plan, but this year, as a function of our amendments, we're doing an amendment to the 5-year plan. And the reason for that is that we have a program and a fund source that were not included in the original 5-year plan. And that program is, and fund source is the Section 108 loan. That Section 108 loan will be discussed in a few minutes in more detail, but right now I'll just indicate that it's a loan that we received. We applied to HUD for Housing and Urban Development, and then repay that loan through the proceeds of the project that's done, but it's guaranteed by our stream of community development block grant that we receive each year. So that's the nature of the consolidated plan amendment, and it's required to be inserted into our 5-year plan. We have a few amendments to do to our annual action plan, and the annual action plan is the annual plan which implements the 5-year strategies. So each year we do that and adopt those in the spring of each year and implement them along with our budget starting in July. However, each year we also undergo an amendment because we have a process of estimating what our revenues are going to be, and we put those in our budget, and then at some point after that we find our actual revenues and our actual program income and our actual carryover funds, and so we reconcile those each year. So that's what we're doing tonight. Along with that, we're doing a few program modifications. One of those is to remove from the action plan the Eccles Hotel 108 loan repayment. That 108 loan was achieved many years ago and was paid off last year, and so we're eliminating that from the action plan. But we're also then inserting the new 108 loan for track line project. So we're doing that switch as well. And then the bulk of the amendment to the action plan is reconciling the budget, as I mentioned, the estimated budget to the actual budget. And so I'll just go over those changes very quickly for you. As we've discussed in work sessions prior, I'll just hit the high points. Each year we receive an entitlement of funds from Housing and Urban Development, Community Development Block Grant, and Home funds. And last year they gave us an estimate. They weren't able to give us their full, their final answer before we put the budget together. And so we're now reconciling with the actual. The block grant increases by $77,000 and the Home fund increases by almost $18,000. Then we also, into that category, put the anticipated Section 108 loan for the track line, which is $3,340,000. And then we're doing a decrease. We had asked the council for some funds, non-federal funds, that the council wasn't able to provide. And so we're eliminating that to just reconcile with what's real. So our total fund increases are just over $3 million, $3.2 million. Each year we also receive repayments from loans that are issued through our programs, and so we have to make estimates on those as well. And so we're reconciling the actual program income or loan repayment estimates to what we had estimated earlier. There have been a number of payoffs that have increased based early payoffs, so that our fund has increased significantly. So our program income fund has actually increased $538,000. Those are mainly due to some early payoffs. And then we also do a reconciliation of our carryover funds, the funds that we anticipate carrying over from the prior budget into the new budget year. And that's always a guess as well. So we've got now our actual carryover funds, and those typically are funds that are programmed into programs and projects and that just slide back into those programs and projects for which they were budgeted earlier. The block grant carryover increase is $300,000. Home is about $120,000, and those are the big ones. There's a housing fund carryover increase of $56,000, again due to some just reconciling the budget to the actual. So our carryover funds are increasing in $488,000. The net change in the budget is a $4.2 million change, so that's very significant, but most of that, again, is due to the projected $3 million 108 loan. Now I'll quickly just go over the program income, excuse me, the increases and decreases as they slide into the line items, the program line items. Again, the 108 loan debt service decreased by $90,000 because that was paid earlier last year. The infill housing received an additional $217,000, and that's due to carryover funds. The CBD revitalization and the loan loss guarantee program were decreased fairly significantly, and that's that money has been shifted to the track line project for some necessary upfront expenses. The small business loan program gets an $80,000 increase, and then the Own in Ogden program, which provides the down payment assistance, has a $50,000 increase so that we can do another 10 loans. That's a very popular program and it usually runs out of money at about this time of year. Again, the Section 108 loan is now increased significantly, and the East Central Revitalization Program, due to mainly the carryover funds and some of the added program income funds, has increased by $430,000. So again, the net changes are the same as the changes in the budget, $4.2 million. Along with this change, there are a couple of program changes. As I mentioned, the Section 108, and Mr. Cooper will speak to that in a few minutes. So that's one of the changes. Then there is a proposed change to the small business loan program. And the change is to allow for refinances of existing debt. It's an eligible use. HUD allows that under the block grant regulations, and we're finding that there's an instance, and maybe other instances in the future, where an existing business who's in need of our assistance has existing debt that needs to be consolidated, and that we can use our money for that purpose. So that's just that one change to the small business loan program to allow for refinance. And then there's another program which has been proposed, which is not HUD funded, not proposed to be HUD funded, but kind of goes along with this time of year when we're doing program guideline changes and adjustments in our budget. In working with the Public Services Department, we'd like to propose a volunteer partnership program which would augment what they're currently doing and provide a mechanism for volunteer groups to come and get a little bit of funding to supplement the types of efforts that they'd like to do. We've done a number of volunteer initiatives over the years, and there's a lot of goodwill in the community, and a lot of folks would like to do projects, and sometimes they just need a little help. They need some materials or some paint or some wood for a fence, or something to dress up someone's yard. And so what we'd like to propose is a program that whereby a group of volunteers could come and apply for some funds, and the funds would be applied to owner-occupied homes that have some kind of need, and that what they do would be sort of visible, kind of the exterior improvement kinds of things, yards and facades of homes and various things like that. And there is a fund source that the council has given us over the years that has been loaned out, and now the funds are coming back. There's about $70,000 available. It's a non-federal source, so we don't have the federal strings and conflicts and things to worry about with that. So there's a program guideline that's in the packet, and the justifications for that request for this new program. And we're excited to get going this summer and start working with the Public Services Department and accomplish a lot of work. So that's the extent of the presentation that I've got. Are there any questions for me before Mr. Cooper discusses his track line
questions
project?
For Mr. Ogden?
Or Mr. Ogden, maybe just one that, some of those program guidelines is we do want to, like 25 projects a year over the next, few years till that $70,000 is used up. But
sure,
it's a limit of $1,000 for each project.
Yeah, it's a limit of 1,000. That's right. And I hate to say it, but we're going to try to limit that, and so that we're not just handing out $1,000. We'll try and see what they need and try and limit that so we can extend that, the reach of that program. And hopefully in the next few years we'll find some fund sources to beef that back up. And,
sure. Great project. Thank you.
Yeah, we'd like to be able to report back all the good things that have been done with it.
Do they report to your office to get that application, or someone else?
Yeah, that would be either my office or Public Services. There's coordinators in both offices, so we're working together on that. Okay, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Good evening, and thank you. As Mr. Ogden has mentioned, the HUD 108 loan is part of the amendments that are before you in the annual action plan. And pending approval of those amendments, it's proposed that you also adopt Resolution 2014-9, which approves application for the HUD 108, the Section 108 loan. In your packet, you have the final loan proposal. And I'd just like to go over some of the terms of that The loan amount would be for $3,340,000, which again would be used for acquisition and land development at the Trackline Economic Development Project area. You may recall in April of 2013, the redevelopment agency approved and adopted the Trackline EDA. And since then, staff has been working to find funding sources and solutions to develop that project, and we've identified the HUD Section 108 loan as a key source to be able to do that. So again, the loan amount would be for $3.34 million. The term would last 18 years and expire in 2031. The first 4 years of payments would be interest only, which amounts to about $16,700 a year. There would be a program activity identified in the block grant program that would handle those payments. From years 5 through 18, it would be principal and interest with a fixed rate at year 6 through 18. Which would equate to roughly, I believe it floats between $175,000 to $260,000 per year. The payment for that debt would come from the sale of land in the Trackline development project and also tax increment that would be generated through the development of the project. The use of the Section 108 loan in the overall financing structure of the Trackline project is essential. The 108 loan is the least expensive financing mechanism in the marketplace that we can identify to date and has a very favorable term with the 4 years of interest-only payments that I mentioned, and is a manageable annual debt payment thereafter. Using this money gives the RDA the ability to manage the risk that's associated with developing these types of projects, and sometimes risk that we have attributed to others. So we are able to manage that well ourselves and kind of take ownership of the development of the project throughout its life cycle, which would then allow us to drive returns in a much more beneficial way. So that's the HUD Section 108 loan. In addition to the resolution approving the action to apply for the loan, it would also give authority to the mayor to then grant those dollars once received from the city to the RDA, which then would lead to a budget opening both on the city side and the RDA side once those funds are realized. Any questions?
Any questions for Mr. Cooper?
When will those funds be anticipated?
We anticipate them being funded at the third or fourth quarter of this year. We have consultants from our the National Development Council who we've engaged to help with the HUD 108 package, and so they would be kind of leading us through that process with HUD, and they're here today with us.
Mr. Ogden has one more piece that he needs to do.
Okay. I'm going to go back to item D on the agenda. Because of some of the more recent changes to the estimates that have made their way into the final action plan, the proposed budget amendment is requested to be put off and re-noticed. So because of the notice that was submitted earlier, we want to cancel that notice and then establish a new notice today for a new budget opening. I hope I haven't confused the issue. It was due to the recent changes in some of the program income that we received that we put back into the budget, but didn't make it into the earlier notice on the budget opening. So that's item D.
Thank you.
Are we setting that for April the 8th then?
Yeah, that will happen. Okay, this is a public hearing. If you have comments about any of those first four items, those please come to the mic and address your concerns or comments.
Seeing no movement, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to close the public hearing. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
If there's no further discussion, I'll jump on the first one and make a motion to adopt the 5-year consolidated and annual action plan amendments.
I'll second it.
Okay. we've got a motion by Vice Chair Gochner and a second by Councilmember Blair for the 5-year consolidated annual action plan amendment. And this is a roll call vote.
Councilmember Stevens?
Aye.
Councilmember White?
Aye.
Councilmember Wicks?
Aye.
Member Blair?
Aye.
Councilmember Gardner?
Aye.
Vice Chair Gochner?
Aye.
Chair Heyer?
Aye. That passes unanimously.
If there's,
Go ahead.
I was going to say, if there's no other discussion, I will go ahead and make a motion that we adopt proposed resolution 2014-7 for the small business loan program amendments.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Blair and seconded by Councilmember Garner to approve proposed resolution 2014-7. This is a roll call vote.
Councilmember White?
Aye.
Councilmember Wicks?
Aye.
Councilmember Blair?
Aye.
Councilmember Gardner?
Aye.
Councilmember Stevens?
Aye.
Vice Chair Gochner?
Aye.
Chair Heyer?
Aye. That also passes unanimously.
And then item 3, 2014-8, I will make a proposal that we adopt that resolution.
Second it.
Okay. Motion made by Councilmember Garner, seconded by Councilmember Blair to adopt the proposed resolution 2014-8. This is a roll call vote.
Councilmember Wicks?
Aye.
Councilmember Blair?
Aye.
Councilmember Gardner?
Aye.
Councilmember Stevens?
Aye.
Councilmember White?
Aye.
Vice Chair Gochner?
Aye.
Chair Heyer?
Aye. That also passes unanimous.
Moving on, I'll go ahead and make a motion to adopt proposed resolution 2014-9.
Second.
Okay. Got a motion to approve, what was that one?
Number 4.
Number 4, okay. I've turned my paper over too fast, sorry. And you made the motion, who seconded? Councilmember White seconded, okay, great. To adopt the resolution 2014-9. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Blair?
Aye.
Councilmember Gardner?
Aye.
Councilmember Stevens?
Aye.
Councilmember White?
Aye.
Councilmember Wicks?
Aye.
Vice Chair Gochner?
Aye.
Chair Heyer?
Aye. And that passes. Now for item D, those are 2 items. We've already had the explanation for those.
So, Chair Heyer, I'll make a motion that we can cancel the public hearing today for the annual action plan amendments and change that to April 8th, 2014.
I second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Motion by Councilmember Garner, seconded by Councilmember Stevens to cancel the March 25th public hearing and set a public hearing for April 8th. And this is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. That's unanimous. This is time for public comment. This is an opportunity to address the council regarding your concerns or ideas. Please state your name and address clearly for the record and limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Travis Pate. I live at 2546 Jefferson here in Ogden. I primarily wanted to address just the thought and concern with regards to the potential for the Nudie School, which will be in your work session after this. I have a concern with regards to possibly relocating the senior center so far from the central corridor of the 603 bus route, particularly if there's going to be a trolley that goes from downtown to Weber State. I think the senior center needs to be within the proximity of the walking distance that it currently is, adjacent to the library, or possibly on the James Madison school site or property where they tore down the original Ogden High. Some of those types of things. I think the property's larger, and I think we might be trying to do too much with one project. If we need a great community school with that D school, I brought some maps that just kind of show you a delineation of the proximity of all our schools. Monroe's a phenomenal corridor, and we could possibly, if Grandview's rebuilt, go from Grandview all the way to Mount Fort with a corridor and upgrades and those types of things, and make Monroe a parkway versus a boulevard, and we're back to an avenue. I think I've addressed that in the past with regards to the improvements for Monroe, but I'm more concerned about the aspects of how do we best suit this neighborhood school, and if we're trying to throw a community center in there, has anyone called Daybreak and said, how is your elementary school, Daybreak Elementary, and your community center, which is owned by NHOA, working? Is the community space working? If it's not, what is there? Would you do it over again? Or if you would continue that, what improvements would you make? I had the opportunity to speak with the director of their community center, and she said, I would recommend that it's possibly be adjacent to, but not attached to a building. She said that just sometimes the booking things, a lot of the senior portion of their group want from 10 till 2. That's when the school needs the gymnasium. They said a lot of the evening hours. And then also the possibility of locating the community center at the north end. If anyone's worked with senior citizens, how vigilant do we have to be on the north side of a building for snow melt and those types of things, particularly if you build a larger gymnasium and the shadowing that would cause over that parking lot. Once ice is on a blacktop surface, it's almost impossible to detect. I had a really good friend whose father fell and broke his hip, and within a week he had passed. I've had several other friends that within 6 to 8 months of that type of trauma. I just worry about the risk of a north-facing senior center. Really, I've worked with seniors my whole life. I think that it's possibly too much for that area. And again, if the school district's willing and saying, hey, we'd like to do this, but let's put it on the back burner, or let's plan it. The James Madison school site, again, quite a larger, not by a lot, but that property is still available in the front section. How far would $4 million go towards that gymnasium, towards that auditorium that's already in the infrastructure that's already there, and the senior center right on the central line of the 603 bus route, versus moving it further away from public transportation. I watched seniors come from Golden Hours as well as from the Three Links Tower and wait for a bus stop, a 612 bus right here in front of Farr's Jewelry that wasn't going to come. I called UTA and said, you need to notify this more clearly that your bus routes have changed. Waiting just to go to Stop and Shop, which now no longer is there. We're working to get the infrastructure back into Ogden, but I don't think taking the infrastructure that we have along the central core further out is going to help matters. So as it comes up as the work item, I just encourage you to look closely and say, the federal government has a build or a no build process. Okay, if we don't build right now, what's the avenues, and then how do we move forward from that? Versus, hey, let's build and let's shoehorn all of this into a 5-acre site, even with the adjacent park and potential shared parking over the back fence line. I still worry that we might be trying to do too much with one project versus doing one project very well, learning from it. As I said, I called Jordan School District, call Daybreak Elementary, call the community center, and find out, really, here's a planned community that's technically almost a reproduction of Ogden because it's supposed to be walkable. And they said, hey, the kids dropping off at that school, there's miles of parking right along the roadside because that's the closest to it. So the one thing that I have seen with planning and everything else, they've done a tremendous job with integrating parking, student drop-offs, those types of things. But I'm concerned that the community center at that site might be a little premature versus a fantastic elementary, and then putting a little more money back where the infrastructure already exists, such as at James Madison Elementary with a full auditorium with balcony, gymnasium, and so forth.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Alex Montañez, and I own Rovalles Ristorante Italiano. And what I want to bring to your attention today, we've had discussions for the last couple of years, and in particular, a little more urgency this year for Historic 25th Street. We have made the suggestion of moving the farmers market, some of the booths and vendors down to the 100 block because that block suffers. We don't see the traffic. A lot of the businesses on that block, there's tens of thousands of people up here in the park, and wall to wall, it's hard to walk sometimes. And so we would like the council to consider moving or encourage the movement down the 100 block. We also know that there's a possibility of it being warm, on the street because people want to be underneath the trees in the park and so forth. One of the suggestions that was brought to our attention is to put it on the south end of the road because it's shaded almost all the summer. And I'm on the north side of the road, so that's fine with me just because people will come down and loop around and come back up the street. So all the businesses are, will come out and also participate. We've notified and talked and actually have a little group for the 100 block that have kind of come to agreements to come out of their shops and set up canopies and be able to sell on the sidewalk as well to help fill that street so it looks nice and full, and the people that are vendors in the park would feel comfortable of being on the 100 block as well. So that's what I'd like to, propose this year. We talked about it last year. It didn't happen. And I've been on the street for about 4 years. And noticeably, there's a noticeable difference of lack of walking traffic. They'll come up, but nobody's really shopping on the 100 block. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, my name is Jane. I own Pandemonium Art Gallery on 25th Street. And I guess I'm just pretty much echoing what Alex just said. I opened last summer during the farmers market. And, my very first Saturday open, I was really excited to be there, and I thought it's going to be so busy. And I think nobody came in because people would walk by on their way to the farmers market. When they were done, they would walk by and they were tired. They didn't want to stop and shop. So I'm really nervous about having another summer like that. I've been involved in many meetings where we've kind of planned out what our ideal farmers market would look like. And like Alex said, we would love to see it extended all the way down to Wall rather than just be up at the top of 200. Make it a little more interactive for participants with arts and entertainment and, street performers, kids activities, things like that. So, yeah, I would just like to see the farmers market expanded and just become a little bit more of a community event rather than, run out and buy some produce first thing in the morning and then it's over. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is CJ Beauvais. I own Sock Monkey and Around Antiques on 25th Street. One of my concerns with the farmers market is Salt Lake starts theirs very early, the first part of June. Ogden's chose to start at July 12th, which we've lost a lot of our valuable artists to Salt Lake for their market instead of keeping them in our area. I'm with them for the expansion of taking it down the entire block. I see a huge increase in the sales in my store during farmers market. If we have a longer market and a extended market all the way down to the Wall Street, I think it helps in sales tax dollars that are coming to the city, and it makes it really viable for all of our stores down there. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Carrie Vondras. I am the owner of Endless Indulgence Retroware on 25th Street also. I'm sure you're seeing a little bit of a trend here. The reason that I came in is I don't know if any of you have been on 25th Street in the evening recently where the sun has gone down. It's come to our attention that all of our tree lights have been turned off on the street. One of the things that I've noticed, because we do have a lot of clientele that stay later in the evening, we have swing dance classes, we do events out of our shop. We love to keep people down there because if we can keep people on 25th Street, we can keep them going to the restaurants, we can keep them going to some of the other boutiques and stuff. But I myself, walking back with my husband and a couple of gal friends coming across from the 200 block to the 100 block to go home, as I call it, because anybody that's a small business owner knows that you're there more than 8 hours a day. It is quite scary. And it's not as inviting as we'd like to see it. I know in the case of Jane at Pandemonium Art Gallery, just her street lights, not even the tree lights, but her street lights aren't even on. It makes it very, very dark and very scary to walk down that street. The tree lights are something that we noticed for a while were off. A lot of times we'll have folks that will come by, unplug our lights, and plug in their cell phones. Not a big deal. We can go out, we can either reset or plug in. But recently now somebody, and I'm not sure who, flipped a switch. We have heard where people have said, well, we don't want Christmas lights up on the trees because it's not Christmas time. I understand that. However, again, I encourage you to walk down the street at 9 o'clock tonight or next week, just to see how dark it really gets on 25th Street. And for the business owners like myself and the restaurants, or someone that may be going from a restaurant to a club, it is a little nerve-wracking, especially if you're a couple of ladies walking alone. So that's one thing that we would like to address, to try and brighten up the street and make it really, really inviting. The biggest thing for us, there's other ways that we can light the street up, different ways other than the lights in the trees. We're definitely open to any suggestions anyone has. But again, I encourage you to walk down the street. I really think it would really brighten things up, and people would want to stay on the street longer in the evening to see the art walk that goes on the first Friday of the month, and go over to the restaurants and participate in the restaurants. So that's the reason that we're here.
Thank you.
Can I jump in on that real quick? Your timing was great. Jay's pecking away at a note to some of our people to start looking into that tonight. That's certainly not the intent, and I appreciate you bringing that to our attention. And I'll tell you, council members and the administration have heard about the requests to extend farmers market. We're looking at budget options for that now. It's something we'll look at and see what we can move around and accommodate. So we'll let you know soon. That's already in process, and we spent the last few weeks working on this with a bunch of our different departments. So I appreciate those concerns and those comments.
All right. Well, looking.
Wait.
Oh, we have one more.
Person, I'm going to sneak up here.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Hello all, Carolyn Brierly. I'm the Executive Director of the Historic 25th Street Association, and I am just here to reinforce some of the things that the business owners have talked about. Our association is growing. I would like to report we have 11 new members. We restructured our fees, and we have 11 new business members. So as we continue to grow, that's going to give us more options as to the things that we can do. And I would like to offer that Historic 25th Street Association would like to work with the city and with downtown Ogden in whatever capacity is needed to make sure that we can make the most of what we have. We have lost 3 businesses recently, and we have 2 more businesses closing at the end of this month. And so it's vital that we make the street as enticing as possible. The lights were turned off by one of our board members because it was such a sporadic thing that we don't have all the lights on, and it looked very, very bad. And so that board member asked permission to turn the lights off to make it consistent, so the whole street was the same. so that we didn't have a tree here and then 3 blank trees and then another tree on. So that's why he turned the lights off. We would like to look at a more permanent solution for lighting, and we'd love to work with the city on that. If we could get either lights strung between the poles or across the street, you know, something that doesn't do the damage to the trees that the Christmas lights do. We would like to get away from the Christmas lights, and even during the Christmas holidays, if we can just have, you know, some very vibrant lighting on the poles. You know, there's all kinds of decorative things that can go on the poles that would be more sustainable, that, you know, strands and strands and strands of lights wouldn't continually be having to be replaced. So we're open to that. We would love to work with the city, like I say, in any capacity that we can. And farmers market, the biggest complaint I hear is that the park is so crowded that you can't walk down the sidewalk, and why can't they move some vendors down the street? And I think that would be a great option. If the city could put a little pressure on downtown Ogden, we'd appreciate that. I know that they're afraid of losing some of the valuable vendors. I think they would come back when they realize that people are wandering the full street. We just want the market to succeed, but we want our businesses to succeed. Farmers market should be an economic development tool for our city. Should bring people to the front doors of the businesses, not just to the vendors. So thank you. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Carolyn. Okay, are there any other comments from public? Okay, seeing none, we'll entertain comments from the mayor. Where'd he go? There he is.
Nothing else at this time, thank you.
Okay, council members?
I just wanted to do a little shout out to Ogden City's legislative team that spent a lot of hours down at the state capitol, and not only did they shape better policy for our city, but for the rest of the state as well. So thank you to all of them. I'd list your names, but there are a lot of you.
Any other comments? All right. Next item on our agenda is a closed executive session. And so, Mr. Williams, would you like to?
Mr. Chair, a closed executive session is permissible for the purposes set forth in the agenda.
Okay, we'll look for a motion.
With that, I will make a motion that we adjourn into a closed executive session.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion, Councilmember Blair, seconded by Councilmember Garner, to move into a closed executive session. And we will adjourn. Pardon? Oh, sorry. And this is a roll call vote.
Councilmember Gardner?
Aye.
Councilmember Stevens?
Aye.
Councilmember White?
Aye.
Councilmember Wicks?
Aye.
Councilmember Blair?
Aye.
Vice Chair Gochner?
Aye.
Chair Heyer?
Aye. That's unanimous. We will adjourn from the city council meeting in the other room. We won't? We'll come back here?
And then we'll return for an RDA.
Come back here. So we'll come back here and adjourn.
Yeah.
Great. And then we'll have a special redevelopment agency meeting following that regular city council meeting.
Nice job. So since we are now back in this meeting, I'll go ahead and make a motion to adjourn the city council meeting.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to adjourn the city council meeting. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.